I always love when I wonder if I'm live or not, and then it says, "You're live." And I think, yes, I am alive. That's a good thing. All right. So, another crazy morning chat. But this one is really going to be like the mad ramblings of a witch. I've been thinking a lot about mortality and legacy and things like that. And, Anton and I have worked nearly 3 decades together. And I've been here like reading since 87. So that's nearly 40 years. Good morning, Heather. And I've been thinking about my stories and the things that I've learned and the people that I've known and the bits of things that I've been able to weave together from these different people who learned things. Good morning, Lizette. Good morning, Jen. So I understood a really long time ago that one person doesn't have enough time in a lifetime to learn everything that they want to learn. I'm very clear on that. I know pretty much nothing, even though I've been able to be a witch all day long since 1993, right? So since 1993, 33 years, I've been working full time, reading and teaching and having the shop and being able to invite different people to come and teach and learn from them and just have this amazing life that I'm very, very grateful for. And today I wanted to talk about an interesting topic, and that is about angels. Now, all my pagan witchy folk, don't go crazy. Listen to what I have to say before you make a judgment, okay? I came from, hi, Wendy. I came from an interesting household. Hi, Taylor. My mom was devout Methodist, and we had Sunday school at home. She taught us the Bible, and it gets really funny when, witnesses used to come to the door. I could quote different scripture back to them, and they would, be a little bit curious about that. But she really did have a way of understanding and teaching through the Bible how to be a good person. But my mom, of course, wasn't into astrology or high magic or any of those kind of things. So she didn't necessarily see the hidden layers or the hidden meanings underneath that. Now, my dad was a third-degree Master Mason. He raised Masons in the Masonic Lodge. And he was pretty cool, too. Like, he would say, "Hey, let's go outside and look at the moon tonight." Okay. So there was this interesting kind of contrast. And he certainly wasn't not Christian. But, at his funeral, when the little guys in the aprons came in and said, "So mote it be," oh dear, Emmett wants to come in and destroy the library. When the guys in their aprons at his funeral said, "So mote it be," the ears of my little pagan community kind of pricked up and said, "What did he just say?" So anyway, I'm here today to talk about a little bit of my journey. And I'm not going to necessarily answer questions. I'm probably going to give you loads of questions to think about. All right. So, angels to me never really seemed like 8-foot tall men or women or beings, 8-foot tall beings with halos and wings that floated through walls. I kind of sense them as energy, divine energy, divine light. And it's been an interesting journey for me, to kind of take that Christian ideology of angelic beings and come through, high magic into the craft. And that's kind of what I'm gonna talk about, for the next few minutes. So, we know that there definitely are energies around us, outside of us, on other planes, on parallel planes, on higher planes, and some of us are very sensitive to this energy. Now, I'm particularly interested in pointing something out that's happening right now, right? We know that we're moving into the age of Aquarius. And for those of you who haven't heard me on my soapbox, it's not an instant process. It just didn't happen in 1960. An aeon is 2,000 years, but it really is 2,000 years and there's an overlap, right? So if we thought about 1960 to 2020 as 11:59 to midnight, and 2020 to 2080 as midnight to 12:01, we can see that we're in that first tick into the age of Aquarius. And for people who watched Witchy Wednesdays yesterday, I said that I really felt that the age of Pisces was the age of emotional intelligence, and that the age of Aquarius that we're moving into now is more of an age of spiritual intelligence. And I talked about parallels between astrological configurations now that are working with the Roaring 20s, where we had those brilliant minds and quantum physics and Einstein and all these kind of things being born. So let's think about some of the places and things that we have association with angels. And then I'm just going to put out a few threads. I'm not going to connect any dots. I'm just going to put out some threads, and you can see how they might go round. All right. So in astrology, we know that there are planets and signs and houses and degrees and aspects. But there are also important points, right? Our rising sign, that point on the horizon, our descendant, midheaven, nadir, the nodes. And then one of the other important points in astrology, several different types of astrology, they revere the divine spark, which is 0 degrees Aries. So when these people of these genres in astrology read a chart, they always see what house or what 0 degrees Aries is touching. Where is the person's divine spark for this incarnation? Now, when you look about angels in general, you find a sentence that says, angels are seen as willing to assist. They are perceived as the divine spark within the practitioner. The divine spark. Now, again, some of this is going to be opinion, and you certainly don't have to agree with that. And I do think that angels are here to assist, but I don't think they're here to interfere, right? For example, they might stop us from getting hit by a bus if it's not our time. But I don't think they're here to manipulate our life. But I think if we speak to them or work with them, we can get them to assist us. All right. Now, where else have we heard about this divine spark? Well, when we look at this card, we're told that this is Archangel Uriel and that he is transmitting light. Okay, so what kind of light? The kind of light that is part of a star, and the kind of light that is the human soul. Oh, so our souls have a divine light or a divine spark. And that spark is at the birthplace of the zodiac, 0 degrees Aries, where everything starts. All right, it's going to be some mad ramblings. Mad ramblings are fun, though. Rabbit holes, things to think about, pondering things to ponder. All right, so we have this divine spark that links us to the universe, to all these other things. Now, there are 4 primary archangels in the tarot. So that was Uriel. We have Michael or Michael. We have Raphael. And we have Gabriel. And these guys, in some circles, pun intended, in some circles, these guys are considered the holy guardians. Now, high magic reveres angels and does a lot of work with them. But wouldn't it be interesting if these guardian angels were actually the guardians of the watchtowers? I don't know how to get rid of the glare in my glasses, but I can either look down or up, whatever. Sorry. All right. So what if these 4 guardian angels could indeed be the guardians of the watchtowers? That's interesting. Now, when we do some other research, we're given another interesting sentence that says, angels are called upon to assist in spiritual evolution. Oh, the age of Aquarius, the age of spiritual intelligence. Angels are here to provide protection. Well, maybe they are the guardians of the watchtowers. And angels are here to help manifest our desires. Okay. Now, in Jewish mysticism, and here's where the first brain bleeding is going to come. In Jewish mysticism, there are 72 powerful divine angelic beings. It's mystical Kabbalah work. And their names, 72 names, are derived from specific Bible verses in the book of Exodus. In particular, you could look in Exodus 14:19 through 21. Each of these 72 angels, divine sparks, light beings, corresponds to a unique spiritual quality or unique function, acting as an intermediary between humanity and the divine. Okay, and often used in a spiritual practice for personal transformation, healing, or the understanding of the universe. The universe. Which makes me think about that number, 72. Where have I seen that before? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I saw that number 72 in astrology. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Taylor. um, let me get there. All right. So I saw that number 72. Now, we know we have 12 zodiac signs, and we know an aeon is 2,000 years. So far, so good. Math, I know. But at least we're not doing sacred geometry just yet. All right, so 72 is an interesting number indeed. 12 zodiac signs, 2,000 years. That's 24,000 years. Times 3 is known as the Great Platonic. Oh, I bet that has to do with Plato. The Great Platonic Year, or the Grand Year. Now, in this interesting tome, Arabic Parts, The Lost Key to Prediction by my wonderful friend Bob Zoller. As you can see, I bookmarked some places. There's a talk about this interesting time, and it talks about the great year and the great month and the great week, and it says something about something called the monad. The monad. Hey, I've heard about that before. There's this book. Oh. This book was written by Dr. John Dee. Queen Elizabeth I's astrologer. But he wasn't just an astrologer. He was a spy and a whole bunch of other things. But wait a minute. He, in the 1600s, devised an angelic language. An angelic language that he later called Enochian magic. Okay. So here we have astrology, numerology, sacred geometry, and the angelic realm kind of sewing things up together. Then, of course, in high magic, we have the rituals like the middle pillar and rituals like the lesser ritual of the pentagram and the rose cross and all of these things that are linked to divine sparks. So on the 20th of this month, 15 days or so from now, Saturn and Neptune are going to come together at 0 degrees Aries. And for those of you who listened yesterday, I was quoting Bob Hand when he said that we're coming to that change of the aeon. This isn't a direct quote, but it's the summation that we're going to learn that all along Saturn was not the reality. Saturn was the illusion, and that Neptune was indeed the reality, not the illusion. And we said that, Saturn is kind of the divine exalted prisoner, that Saturn says to us, you can't pass through here. This is the end. This is the end of the planetary procession. This is the end of the zodiac. But we know we've now discovered these outer planets, Neptune, Uranus, Pluto. So could this coming together of this cycle that happens every 40 years, but has not in our ability to see what society was doing, happened, and especially not happened with the configurations that we have going on, some other aspects. And again, in astrology, things don't necessarily happen in a day or even a year, but they have a marker. So I feel that this coming together at 0 degrees Aries of these two planets, one the inner planet and one an outer planet, one a personal planet and one a generational planet, they're both coming together at that inception point. So I think that's a pretty strong message. I just want to check my notes because there was something that I didn't talk about, that sacred geometry. I did say that. The divine spark. See, even my head gets wound around sometimes. Oh, I think I wanted to talk about that 72,000 year cycle. So a lot of times that is calculated by another conjunction, the conjunction of Jupiter expansion and Saturn restriction. And this grand conjunction happens about every 200 years. And it moves its way through the elemental cycles, right? So it comes together first in all of the earth signs, and then water signs, fire signs, air signs. So it had its last coming together in the earth signs in Taurus in May of in Taurus. And then in 12/21/2020, Alban Arth in 2020, they came together in Aquarius. So another one of these markers. Here's this grand conjunction coming together in Aquarius, switching into air signs. So a lot of the things that are happening are showing us we are leaving earth and water, our corporeal reality. We are leaving earth and water, and we're moving into fire and air, the divine spark, the thought place, the mental place. Okay. So I just wanted to also talk, I think that's enough rabbit holes. I will talk about Archangel Michael. So Archangel Michael is known as the protector. And sometimes when we're going through a big shift, like a Saturn return, we do need a little extra protection. And also when we look at this card, we notice that there's 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on the land. So this is definitely about trying to be grounded as well as heal. And a Saturn return certainly is a big time in someone's life. So I think that Michael is a good guy. In Christianity, he has a sword and he kills the devil. So, but sometimes the devil is again just that exalted prisoner aspect of ourselves that tells us negative things. So, like our personal demon, So Michael came along to help you squash the demon, I'll bet. All right. So one of the first books that I found when I was stepping out of Christianity a bit is this little book. I don't even know if you can still get it. It's called Ask Your Angels. So there's different exercises and workshops and little work things that you can do. I'm seeing, when is this from? I don't even know how old this is. Oh my gosh. No, I don't even think there's a publisher's date in here, but whatever. All right. I had to be friends with my personal demon. Yes, you got to be. All right. So I stepped out of like the norm of the angel philosophy that I started talking about. And I went into this Ask Your Angels, these little exercises and meditations and things. And I used to have Friday night group at my house where people would just come, and it was like an esoteric thing. You didn't have to be Wiccan. And there were 3 of us one night who decided we wanted to contact a healing angel. And we did this meditation, and we got a beautiful ball of blue light. And we heard the word Ilaria. And that is indeed a healing angel. But we didn't have really a purpose. We were novice. So it's almost like the angel was a bit disturbed. You've called me and now you're not going to give me a job, kind of thing. So that was an interesting experience. So I will say, if you're going to call upon these angelic beings and you want to work with them, have a purpose, something they can help you with. Then later on, I was working on the Tree of Life, and there's a book called The Shining Paths by Dolores Ashcroft Nowicki. I know some of you have heard this before. But during one of the meditations on one of the pathways, the Hierophant rises, right? So the Hierophant, and it's a profile in the vision that you're given. The Hierophant rises from the water, and the narrative is going on, but I've left the tour a little bit. I'm standing by the Hierophant, and on the top of the Hierophant's staff is like a crystal ball sort of looking thing, and it bursts into a million dots of like pranic light. And I hear the word Adoyle. I write it in my little journal. Just another bit of weirdness. Then later, I come across this book, A Dictionary of Angels. A Dictionary of Angels by Gustav Davison, which I think they now have bootlegged, and you can get a PDF of it online, which is sad because, that's not nice. But in here, when you find the word Adoyle, which one day I was looking for a different word, and I came across the word Adoyle, and I said, that's the name of the ball on the end of the Hierophant staff. And the passage says, Adoyle, the only angel upon God's command to burst asunder. Holy shit. So I want you to understand that angels are not just Christian. Angels can certainly be an energy or a divine spark. Angels can certainly be helpers. Angels are linked to high magic, to the Kabbalah, to sacred geometry, to astrology, and can definitely be part of your spiritual journey linking you or awakening your own intelligence. So between now and July, I think we're going to see quite a movement toward um, spiritual intelligence, right? Spiritual intelligence. And I think that the more we can understand about the universe, astrology, astronomy, sacred geometry, angelic partners, processions of things, cycles of things, um, and our own spark, I think the better off we'll be. Because more and more, it's becoming apparent that the last thing the dark side wants are more light workers. So the more we understand and the more work we can do for the good, for the light, to help humanity, it is likely that there'll be more and more challenges, right? So perhaps find a really good meditation to meet your personal guardian angel. And it could be a big juju angel, one of the 4 big guardian angels. It could be an angel from a temple or sphere on the tree of life. It could be one of those 72 angels. In integrated energy therapy, there are angels for the chakras. No surprise, because the chakras are the planets. Lots of rabbit holes. So I think just let us all make some time for our spiritual practice, and exercise our spiritual minds, and see how many threads we can tie together, how many dots can we put together, and how we could live a more spiritually aware existence. And I'm not saying that to shut off your mundane life, you have to be aware, right? You have to understand what's happening in your day-to-day life. You have to keep a roof over your head. Yeah, you have to deal with maybe people that you don't love. But we also have to have time to integrate this spiritual age, this spiritual awareness, this spiritual intelligence. Perhaps that divine spark, that spark that the angels bring, is intelligence. We are moving into the age of Aquarius. We're in that tick. We are going to see things start to move very quickly as more and more energy moves into air and fire, right? We're leaving wood snake and we're going into fire horse. Things are going to move, right? Horses can gallop. All of the outer planets, the generational planets, are moving into air and fire. And they are going to be in harmony, which is a good thing, right? They're going to make conjunctions and trines and sextiles and things that are helpful. So think about things. Let your mind wander and meditate. Invite and say, I am seeking the energy of my holy guardian spirit. Right? I do have a 2-hour course on angels, and I think it might be one of the inaugural things that I offer at the Occult Education Center. So, we're manifesting, we're moving forward. Like-minded people are going to come together. Helpful people from all around are going to become part of this beautiful community. I'm speaking that into being. And we're going to help each other on this amazing journey. All right. Yep, I'm going to offer that course. The person who helped you find your guardian angel actually took that course and was probably using some of that information when they taught their class, which is fine because the more the merrier. So I'm just going to go back and read some of the comments because sometimes if I get derailed, um, uh, new membership on Friday. I didn't see it, so go back and give it a check. Oh, and Anton's saying join the Academy. Yeah, the Academy of the Occult is fantastic for people who can't come to Circle, who don't live nearby, and who are interested in learning that kind of thing. The Dictionary of Angels is so valuable. Some deities were appropriated and made into saints. Absolutely. Thank you for book references. If you're looking for angels on the tree or the temple, proceed with care. Metatron. Oh, well, he is intense, and he has that link between Malkuth and Caithur because his twin brother is Sandalphon. So, yeah, a lot of good stuff coming up. A lot of things that are going to link those three rays that we teach in our tradition, right? We teach our tradition, our craft is a combination of high magic because you do need astrology, astronomy, the understanding of the divine spark and the middle pillar and the angelic light. And you do need to understand um, the nature of magic and the magic of nature. And that's sort of that druidity, right? Druidry links us to nature and understanding the cycles. So we could kind of look at high magic as a very masculine ray. And we could look at druidry as the middle pillar. And then we could look at the craft as the feminine ray or the goddess energy. So just understand that things are more alike than they are different. And sometimes people get up on their soapboxes and they try to say, you can't believe what they taught you, or they're wrong, or that's not right. All the information was transmitted from probably the same place. And if it really is the ultimate information, it would know that not all of us can follow the same road, that we all need a path that's going to speak to us and speak to our divine spark. Where did we come in? What are we here to learn this time? Right? So I have a hard time poo pooing other religions. I do sometimes get upset with the way they may harm others in their teachings by saying you're wrong or, you know, whatever. Anyway, you got to find what's right for you, right? Everyone has the right to find what speaks to them. And just know that knowledge is power. And seek the angel that will help you awaken your spiritual side, that will help you gain spiritual intelligence. Now is the time more than ever, people. We're alive in a very, very interesting place in time. Sacred geometry. We're going to start doing some grid work, by the way. So that's going to be one of our new kits and clubs that we're going to offer. We're going to start with you can just buy the grid with the crystals and candle, or you can buy the grid and make a donation and come and use the grid in a group, right? So in other words, you can just get the package mailed to you and you can do it at home, or you can come to like a tea party setting where the grid will be enchanted, ignited. So that's going to be our next club. We're going to do grids. There's a lot of stuff coming, and there are a lot of things that have just been in my heart, in my mind, but they have not been able to be expressed because of the restrictions of the mundane, right? I think now, just now, people are starting to deal with the 2020 derailment, right? So 1960 to 2020, 11:59 to midnight. Midnight to 12:01, 2020 to 2080. So this 5 years is just that little bit of movement into that 60-year cycle. And a lot of the things that we were planning and working on really did kind of get put back. Um, and we got put into survival mode. You know, um, survival mode can really squash down your spiritual stuff, right? If you're going to be all stuck in base chakra and survival mode, it's going to be really hard to work with third eye and crown in the spiritual mode, um, but there always comes a balance. So things are moving forward. More and more like-minded people are coming together, and we are going to make a difference. Yes, gather information. Find the commonalities, not the differences, right? Don't do your search to try to bash something else. When you do your research, say, why does that number 72 keep coming up? What's with that? Or, wow, this group says this energy is red, and this group says this energy is yellow, and these people say it's orange. Well, orange is a combination of red and yellow. Maybe that group had part of the information, and that group had part of the information, and this group put that information together. Again, I'm not saying every religion is the same. I'm not saying everything is one, but it is. It's just a different part of the one. Oh. Anyway, have faith in yourself. Stay calm in the face of this struggle. A time of change is one of the most difficult times because people on opposite sides have this tendency to get very defensive. There's going to be a lot of struggle to move out of that doorway, right? We're all right now kind of in the doorway between the age of Pisces that's behind us and the age of Aquarius that's ahead of us. We're in that 11:59 to 12:01. Getting the last age to stop grabbing you by the ankles and pleading you to stay is going to be really hard. You need to be the fool. Take that leap of faith. All right. I think that's enough for today. I really have to do some things and get my butt to work. I've got an astrology class to teach tonight. Tonight is aspects. So if any of you were thinking you wanted to catch that again, you can ask me and I'll send you the Zoom link if you've already taken the astrology class, or just let me know what's up with you. And if not, I will see you again soon, I'm sure, on the YouTube, tube of you, or in the shop, or wherever else. And rabbit holes, people. Rabbit holes. Think Alice in Wonderland. She wasn't crazy. She was searching. All right. Be well. Love you. Take good care till I see you again. Blessed be.